Reading books is a way for you to tap into somebody else's mind, and if you don't have someone to call a mentor, you can start reading books from people that you want to learn from. And in this video, I'm going to be going over 13 money books that changed my life. That way, if you're looking for some books to read, you'll have some options. What's up, everybody? I am Jaspreet Singh from theminorityMindset.com, where money minds rethink rich. I always think it's weird when I make a video talking about reading books because growing up, I hated reading. I was never good in English. English was my second language, and I almost failed my middle school English class. I never read a book voluntarily, and I never thought that I would read a book voluntarily until I started reading books about money and financial education and investing. I'm still a very slow reader. I like the idea of reading books, and I do try to read books if I have some extra time. It doesn't happen very often, but I do try to read physical books. But most of the time I'm reading books, I'm actually just listening to audiobooks now. I started doing this back during the 2020 pandemic because all the gyms were closed and I needed to exercise. So I started going on these hour-and-a-half walks in the morning. It was about 5 miles long, and I still love doing this today. I didn't realize how much I loved walking until the pandemic, but I was making these 5-mile walks in the morning, and during these walks I would just listen to an audiobook. I just put in my AirPods and walk, and now my brain would just be thinking during this hour-and-a-half walk right in the morning before the sun would come up. So I'm gonna jump right into the 13 money books that changed my life. But before I get into number one, I need you to do me a quick favor and smash that thumbs up button below. And if you're looking for some extra minority mindset, we just launched some new Minority Mindset channels. We have the Minority Mindset News channel, where we're posting daily updates on the top finance and business news. We have the Minority Mindset Clips channel, where you can watch shorter Minority Mindset videos, somewhere between 8 to 12 minutes long. And we have the Minority Mindset Spanish channel, where you can watch the Minority Mindset videos in Spanish. So if you want to watch these videos and subscribe to these other Minority Mindset channels, I'll put the link to where you can do that in the description below. I didn't grow up learning about money or entrepreneurship or financial education. I was told that if I wanted to become successful, all I had to do was study hard in school and become a doctor. I didn't know what entrepreneurship was. I didn't know what investing was. I didn't have real estate investors in my family. These were all completely foreign to me. And so I was busting my butt in school thinking that I was doing everything right to become financially successful. But there's a big difference between being financially successful and being successful in school. Like, being successful in school can help you get a good job, which can help you make a bigger salary, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be financially successful. Being financially successful means that you are financially educated and you know how to use your money, and now you have the opportunity to build wealth. I always felt like I was an entrepreneur. I just didn't know what entrepreneurship was. Like, when I was a kid, I was mowing my neighbor's lawns for $10 a house. I was delivering newspapers, and I was getting paid like 7 cents a house to deliver newspapers. And then I started working in the wedding business because I used to play an Indian drum called the dole at weddings. And so I was doing a whole bunch of different side hustles. I just didn't know that you can make real money without a degree. Towards the end of high school, my dad gave me a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I didn't know why he gave me this book, because he knew that I hated reading, but he said that you should read it. Now, I didn't know what to do with this book because I had never read a book for leisure in my life, but I was like, all right, thanks, Dad. Threw it in the back. And this was back when, if you flew on a plane, especially an international flight, there was no sort of like media or entertainment. Nowadays, if you fly across the world, if you sit on a plane, they're gonna have TVs in every seat, they're gonna have games, they're gonna have movies that you can watch. But back then, if you sat in a plane and you were going across the world, you didn't have any of that. You would have like one black and white TV in the center aisle, and everybody on the plane would either watch that or be sitting in their seats doing nothing. My family is from a state in India called Punjab, and if you want to go from here to India, America to India, it takes like 20 hours on a plane. And sitting on a plane for 20 hours with nothing to do, sitting like a sardine, isn't very fun. So I used to bring whatever I could with me. I used to bring my Game Boy, I'd bring my biology textbooks, I'd bring whatever I could to kind of distract myself. And one time, my senior year in high school, I was going to India, and I was packing up my backpack with all the things that I wanted to take, and I saw my Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and I decided to pack that too. Now I'm sitting on the plane, I got bored of reading my biology textbook, I got bored of playing Pokemon on my Game Boy, so I decided to pull out Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I started reading. And for the first time that I could ever remember, I was actually interested in what I was reading. The concepts and the topics were brand new things that I'd never heard about in Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I knew that I always wanted to be financially successful, and I always thought that the only way that you could be financially successful was by studying hard in school. Now all of a sudden, I was reading something that was completely different than what I was taught my whole life, and I was interested. Rich Dad Poor Dad is a great intro book to get you interested in financial education and investing and entrepreneurship, because if you are not familiar with financial education or investing, it will open your eyes to a whole new world of money that many of us never grew up learning about. The whole premise of the book can be summarized in 2 sentences. First, if you look at the subtitle of the book, it's called Rich Dad Poor Dad, what the rich teach the kids about money that the poor and the middle class do not. And the first lesson that the book teaches you is, quote, the rich don't work for money. They make money work for them. So if you're just getting started in the financial education side of things and you're trying to understand what money is, how money works, how investing works, you got to start off with Rich Dad Poor Dad. It is a great book that will get your mind open to the whole concept of money and financial education. After you read Rich Dad Poor Dad and you open your mind to financial education, you want to read the opposite side of finance, which is Dave Ramsey, and his most popular book is Total Money Makeover. I've read a ton of his books, and what you're going to realize is that Dave Ramsey's mindset is the complete opposite to Robert Kiyosaki's mindset. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. The interesting thing here is Robert Kiyosaki and Dave Ramsey are good friends. When I interviewed Robert Kiyosaki, he even talked about that on our interview, but they have very different viewpoints on money. Robert Kiyosaki is all about taking on as much debt as possible and don't save any cash. Dave Ramsey has a different viewpoint on money. He says that you should not take on any debt and you want to be saving your cash because cash is king. What you need to do is learn this side, then learn this side, and then figure out where you want to be. Maybe it's here, or maybe it's somewhere in the middle, because most people are somewhere in the middle. I'm going to talk about this again later on in this video, but the best way for you to educate yourself is to learn different points of view. You have to learn this side and this side. That way you can make the best decisions for yourself, because the problem that so many people have is they start learning this one thing. They start learning one side about money or one side about anything. You see this all across society. They look at one side of the argument and they will never consider the other side because they'll learn this and then they're going to say, that side is stupid, that side is wrong, that side doesn't know what they're talking about. But you have to understand the other side. That way you can make a smart decision, especially when it comes to your money. So when we're talking about money, I'm going to keep talking about why you need to learn both sides of the argument. That way you can make a smart decision for yourself. The third money book that changed my life is a book about real estate investing, because I started diving deep into real estate investing when I was 19 years old. And the books that I really liked about real estate investing were a series called Real Estate Investing by Gary Eldred. He has a whole bunch of different editions that he keeps updating based off of what's going on in the economy and the world. But Real Estate Investing by Gary Eldred is a great deep dive into what real estate investing is, how real estate investing works, and how to understand the numbers when you're analyzing a real estate investing deal. I love real estate investing because with real estate investing, you're buying a real asset, you're buying a property, and this asset will pay you with cash flow, because once you buy this property, you're going to rent it out. Somebody's going to live there, somebody's going to use their property if it's an office, and in exchange for this person or this company living in and using your property, they're going to pay you rent every single month. So with real estate investing, you can create predictable, consistent cash flow once you know what to do. And one of the easiest ways to learn is just by reading books. Yeah, you're going to learn more by doing it, but it's a lot easier to just read a book. Once you read a book, then you got to go out and do it, because the last thing you want to do is get stuck in just the education mode where you just keep reading and learning and taking classes and reading, and then you don't do anything. You got to read, you got to learn the basics, and then you got to go out and do it, because no book, no class can teach you everything, because there's going to be so many hurdles, so many different problems that you're going to come across that nobody can always predict for you. I mean, you can read books and take classes to learn from the issues that other people had, but every property is unique and every property is going to have new issues. And so once you start learning, you got to go out and start doing it. Fourth, you have to read a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island, because it will teach you what money really is. Right now we've been talking about financial education and investing, but now you got to understand what money is and how money really works, because The Creature from Jekyll Island dives deep into the Federal Reserve Bank, its history, and what the Federal Reserve Bank really does. The Creature from Jekyll Island is a little bit on the longer side, but you're going to learn the history of the Federal Reserve Bank. You're going to understand taxes. You're going to understand money flow. You're going to understand what money really is. And it's not necessarily going to teach you how to invest your money, but it'll teach you the understanding backbone of what money is, and that's going to help guide you as an investor, because if you don't understand what money is, you're not going to understand how to use your money the right way. This book will teach you what money is and how money works. That way you have that basic financial education, so you have the reasons for why you need to understand how to use your money the right way. The next 7 books are not money books directly. They are biographies but they will help you understand how to be better with your money, how to build a business, and they will inspire you to become successful because you will learn from people that have actually done it. I love reading biographies because you can learn so much about a person that you normally would never have access to, but you can get a deep dive into their life and you'll feel like you're this person's friend just because you're reading about them, you're reading the story, and you're reading how they became successful, and you're going to know so much more about a person than just from what you hear in the news. The first biography that I read was called Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. This book dives into Steve Jobs, his history, how he built Apple, and his whole story. Steve Jobs is probably my favorite biography when it comes to resilience and just sticking with what you believe and understanding details, paying attention to the art and paying attention to the creativity. Then we have Elon Musk by Ashley Vance. This is a biography about Elon Musk's story of how he got started as an entrepreneur, how he defied all odds, and how he keeps continuing to defy all odds. You're going to get a deep dive into Elon Musk's mind, and you're going to realize how crazy he really is and how this craziness has fueled him to become so successful and to do things that nobody ever thought was possible. Then we have the Richard Branson books. Richard Branson is an entrepreneur who started off as a high school dropout who was able to again defy all odds and build massive businesses. He's the founder of the Virgin Group, so all the Virgin companies you hear about were created originally by Richard Branson. I love marketing, and what you're going to see through these books is how creative he was to get his product known and out there because he was passionate about what he did, and again he was able to do it against all odds and find a way to make it work for him. Then we have Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, who is the founder of Nike, who talks about his journey of building Nike from nothing, selling shoe boxes and shoes out of the trunk of his car after failing so many times, and then coming up with the idea of endorsing athletes by paying them to wear his brand stuff. You're gonna go through an emotional roller coaster of what it took to build Nike into this massive brand that it is today. You're gonna see the highs, you're gonna see the lows. Next is Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh. This is a book about how Tony Hsieh built a company called Zappos. And it's hard for me to say this because I was so inspired by that book, Delivering Happiness, and I couldn't wait to meet Tony Hsieh and shake his hand one day. And then just a few months after I read that book, Tony Hsieh unfortunately passed away in a house fire. Everything he says in the book is very inspirational, and it's one of the funniest biographies that I ever read. It is written so well, and it's written from his point of view. He talks about how he sold the company, made millions and millions of dollars, and then felt miserable because he didn't know what to do with his money. So then he went on a journey to figure out how he could be happy, and that's why he wrote his book Delivering Happiness, about how he built Zappos and the importance of company culture. And he talks about how his heritage influenced him, his culture, and his business. If you are in the process of building business or you want to build a business, you have to read Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh because it will teach you how to build a successful team, and it'll teach you how to build a successful company culture. Then we have Onward by Howard Schultz, the person who's known as the founder of Starbucks, or at least Starbucks as we know it today. And in Onward, he talks about how he took Starbucks during the 2008 crash when Starbucks was not looking too great and really revitalized the company and brought the culture back to the company and turned around the entire culture and company of Starbucks. I don't drink coffee, so I don't spend a lot of time at Starbucks, but I can understand the importance of the art and the culture that they have at the company. And in the book Onward, you are going to understand how he really turned around Starbucks when Starbucks was not looking too good, and then we'll walk you through how to build a successful company, how to have passion behind your product, and how to really care about the art of your company's product. Plus, it'll give you an inside look into the business philosophies that Howard Schultz has and the values that he used to build his company Starbucks. And the last biography that I want to cover is called Call Me Ted by Ted Turner, who is the founder of CNN. Now, I don't care if you're a CNN watcher or a Fox News watcher, or if you don't watch the news, this is one of the best biographies that you will ever read because you're going to understand how Ted Turner built CNN from nothing. You're going to hear about how he used to work in the billboard business, how he used to be attacked by leeches trying to fix billboards and make billboards, and how he took that idea and he thought different. He started thinking about innovation. He started thinking about how you could think bigger in the future, and he talks to you not just about how he built the business, but about the personal side. He walks you through some of the divorces he had to go through, the heartbreaks that he had to go through. He talks about the financial losses and struggles and the financial successes that he had to go through. So you're going to see all of what it took for him to build his company, not just on the business side, but on the personal side. And you're going to feel like you know Ted after reading the book. Then you're going to see the highs and the lows of having money. So now I've talked about 4 different books about money and 7 different biographies, and the last 2 books that I want to talk about are political. But remember what I said earlier, you need to hear both sides of the argument, because if you want to be an educated person, not just about money, but about life, the best thing that you can do is learn both points of view and educate yourself, even if it's something that you don't believe in. Two books that I recommend you check out are Barack Obama's book, A Promised Land, and Donald Trump's book, The Art of the Deal. Both Barack Obama and Donald Trump were presidents of the United States, and they have very different opinions on how the world should look and how to operate a country. And in these books, you're going to see two very different viewpoints, but it's important for you to understand both. That way you can learn and figure out where you want to be. Barack Obama's book, A Promised Land, will walk you through how he became the president of the United States. He's going to walk you through his childhood, and then he's going to walk you through what happened when he was in office. Not just how he got elected, but what happened in office, the decisions that he had to make, the fights he had to go through, the heartbreaks, the wins. You're going to see what he did, why he did it, and he's going to talk about all the major milestones that he had while he was in office and how he got to make those decisions. Donald Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, is not really a political book, but you're going to really dive into the mind of Donald Trump. You're going to see how he thinks, you're going to see how he operates, and you're going to see why he says things the way he does. Because if you watch him on the news, he might seem like he's crazy to you, but this book will really dive deep into his mind, and you're going to understand him a whole lot more. The reason we have so many ignorant people today, whether it's about politics, whether it's about religion, whether it's about money, whether it's about culture, it doesn't matter. The reason we have so many ignorant people is because people are uneducated about a topic. They feel like if they read a Facebook post about one side of an argument, they know everything. But what I want you to do, especially as a minority mindset thinker, is think a little bit different and think a little bit deeper and educate yourself. That way you can make smart decisions. The way you do that is not just by educating yourself about one side, it's by educating yourself about both sides. That way you can make an educated decision about where you want to be, and you can understand both sides of the argument, because the best way to fight off ignorance is through educating yourself. If you like what you saw so far, then you're gonna love this. When you get money from your job, your business, your side hustle, or whatever, there are three things that you can do with your money. You can save it, you can spend it, or you can grow it. The majority of people get paid, and the first thing they do with their money is they make sure Amazon gets paid, they make sure Apple's bank account is padded, and then they make sure that Gucci's financial statements are looking solid. Once the majority of people make sure everybody around them is paid and taken care of, that's when they look at their own bank statements if there's any money left over. Hey Jeffy, listen, if you need more money, I could just have my paycheck direct deposited to Amazon. When you live like this, you are paying everybody else before you pay yourself. You are paying Amazon's bills, you are paying Apple's employees, and you are paying Gucci's rent. And then if there's anything left, that's when you can pay yourself. Looks like I'll just pay myself next month. Here's the thing that I need you to pay attention to and understand. The majority of people think of money in terms of spending. They think, if I can make $10,000 a month, how big could my house be? What car could I drive? How many vacations could I go on, and where could I shop? Even the people that hate math can suddenly start doing calculations. If I made $10,000 a month, I'll put $4,000 to my mortgage, maybe a couple $1,000s to my cars, a couple $1,000s on vacations, and then I'll leave a couple $1,000s for food and groceries and everything else. This is why we call ourselves the minority mindset, because I need you to break away from this majority thinking. Our society has trained our brains to think in net zero. How much money can I make equals how much money can I spend. They have to equal each other. But this is a broke mindset. You are so focused on making sure everybody else around you is rich that you never have a chance to make yourself rich. And what's ironic is when you spend in net zero, so you're spending every dollar that you make, you probably look rich. You have a nice home, you drive a fancy car, you go on nice vacations. How you doing? But your bank account knows your dirty secret. You're broke. The first rule of money is to pay yourself first before you pay anybody else. Look, I know you're worried about Jeff Bezos being able to pay his rent, okay? And that's really nice of you. But Jeffy's gonna be okay if you don't hit that add to cart button today. I want you to worry a little bit less about paying Amazon and worry a little bit more about stacking your own cash. Just compare how the majority of people think about their money with how wealthy people think about their money, because wealthy people also think about money in net zero terms, but not net zero spending. They think, okay, if I make $10,000 a month, that means I can spend $1,000 a month on this stock, and $1,000 a month on this index fund investment, and I could put $3,000 a month into my real estate fund, and then I can live off of whatever's left. But Jaspreet, I don't make $10,000 a month. Then you gotta scale the numbers. Look, wealthy-minded people make it their mission to pay themselves first before they pay anybody else. It's an invest first and spend second mindset. They want to maximize how much money they can put to work for them before they maximize how much money they spend. The interesting thing with this is if you stick with this plan of living smaller and putting your money to work for you, eventually you're going to make more money. And now this pot of money that you have working for you is going to get bigger and bigger, and eventually you're going to get to the point where you can buy all the things that you want without worrying about the price. I didn't grow up learning about money or investing. Nobody in my family is into financial education or investing like that. It's kind of something I just fell into by reading books and making a bunch of expensive mistakes. And my first experience of understanding the spending shift was when I started investing in real estate for passive income. The first property that I bought was this 1,000 square foot condo, and after I jumped through all the hurdles of understanding how real estate investing works and how to manage a property, this condo started paying me a few $100s a month after expenses every single month, and I didn't have to do any of the work because I hired a property management company who handled all the day-to-day work. So this condo, I put my money into this condo one time, and now this condo is paying me hundreds of dollars a month every single month, and I didn't have to physically do anything to get paid. I had no idea this kind of passive income was possible, okay? My idea of passive income growing up in a traditional Indian house was you become a good doctor, and when you're a doctor, then you will get paid a lot of money for being a doctor, and that's passive income because you're very good at what you do. I didn't become a doctor, clearly, but going back to what we were talking about. Just a second ago, I was talking about how people thinking about their money, right? Well, once I got this experience of passive income, that's when I started thinking in terms of houses. My mindset became, okay, let's assume I can make $500 a month per real estate unit that I own. That means if I own 10 real estate units, I can make $5,000 a month passively without doing any work. And if I own 100 real estate units, that means I can make $50,000 a month passively without doing any work. Now it's a numbers game. How fast can I accumulate these assets and buy these properties and build that passive income? Wealthy people make money, not to spend on everybody else and make everybody else rich, but to make themselves rich first, and then their goal is to live off of the money that their money makes them through their investments. Once you can do that, you're financially free. You don't gotta go to work to get paid anymore. When you invest, you are buying a day that you don't have to work. When you go into debt to buy something you don't need, you're buying another week that you have to work. It's not easy and it's not quick, but the more you put in, the more you get out, and the more you put in, the faster your wealth is gonna grow. But it all starts with your mindset, because if you don't have the right financial education, none of this is possible, and most of us are never taught about money when we're in school. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, here's a video about investing your money that I think you'll love, and while you're at it, download a free guide on how to start generating passive income, and as always, keep hustling. The problem with 0% APR, even if you have $2,000 in your pocket, is you never feel the pain of actually spending your money, because now you are just financing everything.